Hello, fellow watchers and enjoyers. Ash and Piggy here recording a podcast on a Wednesday for the first time, as they have released the Wednesday episode early, and this Wednesday episode was the very harrowing episode where Yolande was, sexually assaulted by the pastor. So, immediate trigger warnings for this episode. We're gonna change the format up a little bit. We're gonna talk about the Yolande stuff first. We're gonna get it out the way. And then we're going to slowly talk about the other topics. And then at the end, if people are feeling a bit low after all the horrific shit happening in this episode. And I mean, likewise as well, Hollyoaks just announced it in the next episode doing this sexual abuse storyline with, twins. And, in the next episode, there's going to be another sexual assault. So, it's 2 for 2, which is fucking heartbreaking, really. So, yeah, I don't know. It's weird how sometimes soaps manage to sync up their fucking timelines a little bit. It's we're going to do the similar storylines, but in a much different way. And both will have done it very respectfully. But yeah, so we'll do all of the preamble of the, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. It's episode 68, Watching Walford. It's week 14 of 2024, and it's the episodes from the 15th to the 17th of April? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's talk about the Yolande stuff. So, the week kicks off as Patrick is back, and he starts to kind of piece together some of the things aren't making sense. They're not telling Patrick about Denise's mental breakdown, and Patrick seems to be none the wiser that Yolande spent the bulk of her time with the pastor whilst he's been gone. And he feels a bit neglected, so he's like, alright, I'm going to make a big fucking family thing about it, going to invite everybody around, make some lovely food. The food looked absolutely fucking delicious, I'll be real with you. Patrick made a fucking feast.
The food was delicious. I wish I was there. I would have had the fucking food. And Patrick must be a good chef.
Yeah.
I must say. I bet the actor is as well. I bet he cooks up a storm.
One can hope. And, Patrick, the pastor even comes along to the family meal and is then invited around the table, just all these scenes with the pastor, just fuck off, pastor, please, just fucking leave. And on the day of the fundraiser, Yolande keeps getting comforted by Patrick. Not by Patrick, by the pastor, she's very nervous. It's her first fundraiser, and she had a lot to do, and there's been a lot on. And Patrick continues to feel pushed out. And Yolande even tells Patrick to not go to the fundraiser, which is ominous, in a way. Not because of that, but because the pastor then checks. Oh, is Patrick coming tonight? And then he acts sad and then has this really menacing, dirty grin on his face, and it's like, you fucking son of a bitch. And Yolande tells Elaine about Patrick's feelings and and they both go back and forth, and Elaine Yolande's like, oh, why is it all about sex with Patrick? This about the pastor, it's honest, it's pure, I'm a woman of virtue. I wouldn't do such a thing. My marriage is everything. Patrick's then at the bar, and he gets filled in a bit by Jack, who kind of explains, yeah, look, Denise had a breakdown. She's been, I don't think he says that necessarily, but he kind of goes yeah, she's been struggling, and he feels a bit rough. And here's where the scene is. So, as said before, this will now talk about sexual assault. This is the sad part of the episode. As at the fundraiser, while Yolande's getting something sorted in the supply cupboard, the pastor locks the door, and his whole demeanor changes. He starts to see it as a piece of meat or something. His whole demeanor shifts, and it's disturbing. And this all happens while Patrick's in the pub getting advice from Elaine, who thinks it's just just some marital issues, it's fine. And yeah, then afterwards we cut back to Yolande, who's obviously like despondent and feeling terrible and rough, and it's all implied. I will say that much. It's, we don't. Unlike how they did it when they did the Ben sexual assault storyline, it wasn't nearly as intimate or close up as that one was. But now you just see Yolande, who they did. Usually, I don't really care for a bunch of the like experimental editing, but they kind of did it in a way where obviously Yolande just can't take anything in. Like the sound is all muffled. It's all like kind of blurred out because there's other shit going on. And then what's really rough as well is she's then forced to both take a picture with the pastor and also like made to do a speech as such, where she tries to just get through it and then runs away. She goes home, but then kind of hears Patrick and then kind of just proceeds to go the other way and just finds herself in the laundrette. And this is where Elaine finds her, and Elaine starts talking to her. And this is where they kind of change the way that this is done, because we then start to get some flashbacks, slowly spliced in between the episodes. And it turns out that the pastor has been a prolific like sexual offender. He's been assaulting women for years, and he's been getting away with it. And it's what they were saying with how, it was going to show that often in these cases it's very hard to prove and it's hard to get like prosecuted for it, because it went from each woman in the span of 20 years roughly. The first victim was in 2001, then 2008, then 2012, then 2016, and then 2020. That's 5 women, all of whom were under his, I guess you could say, care, under his church, all sexually assaulted in a different way. And then you have them opening up to someone, like telling them about what he did. And the entire time the church is kind of like, well, the pastor's been moved to a different parish, and I don't think you should tell. It's essentially the I don't think you should be telling anyone about this. And it's kind of, it's put him as almost untouchable in a way, because no matter where he's gone or what he's done, there's always been a level of protection, either by the church or by the fear of, or the image of him being a man of God and a man of virtue, versus, the depraved act that these victims are saying he did. And yeah, fucking hell, it's rough. It's really rough, and I think they've done a really interesting job of covering this sort of issue. Like no storyline like this is ever the same. Obviously, because of the act, there are still the definitives, but this one is now focusing more on the fact that, like, historically it's very hard to get a conviction for this sort of thing, or it's very hard to be actively believed. And it cutting back to Yolande and Elaine, though, Yolande kind of realizes that, she was punished for speaking up, and it was only when she apologized to the pastor that he carried on things. And we get to see a different side to Elaine, where Elaine kind of goes, look, I wasn't there for Linda. I know how bad I was for doing this, and I know how terrible of a mum I was, but Yolande, I will protect you. I'll be with you the entire way. And like I said, the church has been pretty much covering for him. Just, there's an accusation. Well, time to get moved to a different place. And Well, that's where it happens again and again. And Yolande kind of tells Elaine how, like, he built me up, and Elaine's like, yeah, you're being groomed for this. You would, like, this was his intention. And where it kind of spikes up again is when Elaine mentions the police. Yolande doesn't feel that's not, like, it's not doable. Doesn't want to, like, tell anyone else about this, like, intimate thing. Like, she says she didn't even tell, like, her best friends about this sort of like intimate stuff. Like, that's private, that's personal. And yeah, we get a scene where Delia, who is the fourth victim, is kind of being talked to, and essentially, like, yeah, they've decided to not pursue any, like, charges for this. There's no evidence, and we once again just get this very, very strong level of hopelessness where it's like, well, what can you actually do? And just all of the women weren't taken seriously. But Yolande, at the end of this scene, decides, look, this was a minute of time. It shouldn't ruin the rest of my life. It shouldn't ruin the rest of the time I've got left with me or with Patrick. I don't want to tell Patrick because he will get angry and he'll react, and just essentially decides that she's going to try block it out and forget about it. And she makes Elaine promise that she'll forget about it as well, which she does. And then Yolande gets back home and tries to assume back as normal, but kind of at the second she, Patrick, I'll be there in a minute, but the second she, like, has to even come close to getting there, she just kind of just crumbles in anguish and just breaks down in this, like, at the bottom of the stairs. Oh, yeah. So that's all the Yolande stuff. I had to kind of put words to it. I think that the actors did a really good job of telling this. I think the way they framed this to make it much more different than any of the other, like, storylines we've had similar to this, I think they've done a really good job. And I don't know, the one sad bit is in soaps it often gets worse before it gets better, and the aftermath will be really fucking harrowing and really sad to watch. But it's still an interesting story, and I suppose it's in a way it's an interesting parallel to the Dean situation, where obviously Dean was never convicted of his crimes, and they built up this pastor to be this kind of untouchable repeat offender. But what will the outcome be? Will there be justice for Yolande? Will he finally, like, will he finally pay for his crimes? I mean, only time will tell, but it'll be really interesting how they go about telling the story in the aftermath. And I suppose both, it's good to tell from a minority standpoint of people not being of minorities not being believed by the police, and also an older woman, where likewise I can't really imagine, we already saw signs of this when she's like, I don't want to tell any, like, essentially be like, it's, I guess, old fashioned in a sense to be like, I don't want to tell anybody about my, like, personal, like, I don't want to tell them about, like, my body. Like, that's mine. That's kind of sacred. It's not anybody else's. And it's, I don't know. I just, as rough as it was to watch, and as rough as it will be to see, I just want to pay respects to all the actors who have done a phenomenal job of telling this so far. And I like I said, I feel like this may also be the crux of Elaine becoming a better person as well, as she will. I've no doubt that she will proceed to try and help Yolande as much as she can. But yeah, do you have anything you want to say about this, or?
My pros is appearance wise, I love how the pastor in 2001 had hair, like to show that we were actually in a flashback. That's the only pro I have. I know that people are going, you make the joke, but no, I just want to acknowledge that because I'm like, I can't really, I don't know what to say in these situations, honestly. So
Yeah, fair enough.
All I can say is it's done a pretty good job. I know it would be more depressing, but what would have changed is if you now I know this is very depressing and I'm sorry, but it would have been more interesting to see. So we see all the scenes with the 5 women who've been assaulted, and then so the ending where they show all the 5 women.
Yeah.
Instead of that, we see 5 gravestones.
Yeah, fucking hell, that'd be
I
Jesus.
should think because they're not believed. I know that's a bit dark, but if you're gonna make them
very
evil,
dark, but yeah, I
if
guess
you're
it's
gonna
the
make
difference between making him like cartoon evil versus making him just like a repeat offender, really. But nah, fair enough. Yeah, it's something it's hard to talk about in all ways. It's no one really knows what to say in these situations. So, if I have like a final say about this, it's just it was very hard to watch, but I think that I don't know. I think this storyline reminds everybody that what's Yolande's actress's name? I think she's like Angela Winter or something. Yeah. I think this storyline will remind everybody that she has pretty much been forgotten for years, and this storyline kind of reminds everybody that she's a very like talented actor. And I don't know. I feel like this is a sort of storyline that kind of gets picked up by the award shows and gets like this is the one that generally gets the most attention. And I think we're in very
if
capable hands.
if you want kind of a light-hearted kind of send off of this, when they were doing the 5 flashbacks, my mind couldn't put 2 and 2 together. So I can't remember the first 2 ladies' names, but when they popped up, I was like, hold on, the city's called back. Then it got to Rachel, and I was like, wait, England has some city called Rachel, do they?
Oh,
Like, Piggy, you're
you
fucking
thought they were
stupid.
places.
Yeah, I thought they were places, and I was just sat there like, but no, Rachel's not a place in the UK, is it? Like, join this and ask them, is Rachel a place in the UK?
But yeah,
It was just me being stupid.
yeah,
The first one had, I don't know her name, but like, I was like, that
Dolores.
can't be a place in the UK. Dolores, yeah, I was like, that can't be a place in the UK. Can it? And then I was like, okay, I'm paying attention to the scene, but I'm also confused here. I
Yeah,
couldn't put 2 and 2 together.
you missing
EastEnders,
the point.
explain it simply. Yeah.
But yeah,
There's
I
your
think
light-hearted story of this.
yeah, and finally, it's just I do believe that I think they've just done a really important. I think they've told an important story here, and as much as it will be hard to sit through, it has it has a chance to be groundbreaking. I've not seen a storyline that's been tackled like I've not seen a sexual assault storyline that's been tackled with this sort of message before. So like I said, it'll be a good story to tell, but it will be hard to watch. But I think with that, I think that's all said about the Yolande stuff. Gonna slowly ease out of the serious side and gonna try do our best to be a bit more lighthearted about the rest of it, because I mean sometimes you need to when you can avoid it, you don't want to be surrounded by all gloom. I don't think a podcast where we were entirely just fucking just serious would be nearly as well received as we have our job, and our job's kind of talk about the EastEnders in a fun way. So the next storylines is that Jay gets an unwanted surprise with the re-emergence of Nadine. We'll then talk about George's struggles after Gloria's death, and finally we'll likely end off with a bit of catharsis, that being Dean getting questioned by the police. So, but the next one is
no awards this time, though. That's
no
all I'm going to say.
Don't need to do the awards
because it would feel weird. It'll feel weird to go, who gets the piano award? Oh, guys.
Yeah,
definitely
not the definitely not the time. But just continuing though, as it is more lighthearted in its own way, is the Jay stuff, because Jay's just going about his business. He's running the marathon in a couple days, and he gets an ominous voice note from the Dean telling him that, like, I need to see you urgently. Like, oh shit, all right. And because Jay's an idiot, he has no fucking clue. Just no fucking idea what's happening. And he drinks away his troubles and opens up to Gina about Nadine. And through misguided advice from Gina, she's just like, yeah, you probably just got an STI or something. Like, I'm sorry, but am I the only one who expects pregnancy? Like, I feel like someone contacts you after you slept together once. Like, I feel like you kind of go, oh shit, here we go. Maybe it's like an old time thing, but
I just thought you was gonna ring him and just go, oh Jay, you pissed the bed. Where's my £5 for the sheets? You know, just give me back my fucking sheets, you prick. But I honestly was like, how funny would it be if you just showed up with Pug, be like, you left this at our house, just a Pug. I was like, well, I think what? When did I buy a Pug? You don't remember? You were pissed. You bought a Pug on Craigslist. It's fucking what?
But yeah, and so when he goes to visit Nadine, he thinks it's an STI because he's an idiot, and then she's like, "I'm fucking pregnant, Jay," and then shows him the belly. Some people, she said she's 26 weeks pregnant. Some people have kind of been, people have been doing a bit of questioning here. They're not entirely certain, because she says she's 26 weeks, but people are suggesting that 26 weeks ago, Jay was in the coma after the car crash. Like, so they're saying that the dates don't add up as such, because, you know, it's been teased, it's been teased by the actress who plays Nadine and the actress who plays Emma. It's been teased that you know, they've been seen together. So is there some like ulterior motive aside? Like, is Emma trying to scheme her way into Lexi? Because it's, you know, it's a big surprise. As well as this, we also have seen, like, Phil, who, you know, Phil slept with Emma at, like, a similar-ish time. Is there something there? I don't know. Do you reckon there's anything in these, like, in these little rumory things, or, like, do you reckon Emma and Nadine are working together?
It would be fun. It would be fun. I always find it funny if Jay somehow got Emma pregnant as well. So he has 2 kids up my mind.
I don't.
One is Phil's, one is Clay. But what do I think of it? I don't know. Like, I'm too stupid to put the match together, honestly. When it was 26 weeks ago. I'm glad there's people in the community who are more focused and more willing and more able to fucking do that match. I was just like, I'm 26. Like, I'm just putting myself in that situation. If someone goes, I'm 26 weeks pregnant, Piggy, I'll just be like, is it mine? Well, it is. Well, fuck you, I'm going to Australia. See you later, love. Don't fucking contact me.
But yeah,
That's
I think
that's what I
also
think.
people aren't really a big fan of this because Lola's only been dead a year, and it wasn't necessarily the intended choice, but yeah, it's a strange old thing. But it continues as the dean's like, I figured out the dates. It's definitely yours. There's no way about this, and Jay can't handle it, so he storms off. And Nadine shows up and kind of reminds him, like, no, this is yours. And like, he's like, what do you want from me? Which is not the fucking thing to do. But then where it gets a bit strange, though, is that Nadine goes to find Lexi and then proceeds to tell Lexi. And this was just before Jay was about to tell the whole family, as Lexi bursts in with a line like, I can't believe you got that prostitute pregnant, Jay. How could you? That's just the line. Like, so that to me is kind of confusing, because if it's all like honest, like, oh, Jay, it's yours, I want you to be the father. Why would she go tell Lexi before he can? I suppose that's where the strange bit is. Like, what's the ulterior motive here? Maybe it's her just being angry, but I don't know. I don't know. It's looking a bit sus to me. So
There's a sussy packer.
it's backer.
Ah, what did I say?
Packer.
No, I said packer.
Well. I mean, to me, you sound like you're still asleep. So I'll blame the microphone.
I'm here. Blame the microphone. Blame it. Fuck you, microphone. Hey, microphone.
But yeah, like I said, the Jay stuff a bit more lighthearted. But it's Jay. Jay will take this seriously. Jay's always wanted to be a dad. It may not be the best of circumstances, but he'll likely jump at the chance. He's a good man. He'll try support Nadine. He'll try support the baby. And, maybe his good nature will be preyed on, right? Maybe there is some, like, Emma and Nadine working together. I kind of thought that the one thing I am enjoying a bit more is I was worried that Nadine was just gonna still look like Lola now, and I liked it more if she was just someone who was kind of noticed that there was, it's gonna sound really dark. It's noticed there was like a gap in the market. Noticed like, oh, if I dress like his ex, maybe that'll do something. I hope she doesn't still just dress like Lola now. Like, it's a really callous way of doing business, but business is business.
I just, it's going to sound really stupid. I thought like they were going to go a different way, and I don't know how they'd honestly put it off in soap, but I would love to see it. I thought you were going to say she's going to go like cartoony villain and just swap faces, so she has the face of Lola. Like, ha ha, now I look like Lola. I am Lola. Way.
Yeah, bit there, mate.
But like I hope she continues to look like Lola. Could you imagine? Because you have to imagine the awkward scene when you're doing the Dean with her, because you're not going to say Nadine. You're immediately going to go Lola, and you're going to go, oh shit.
Someone say Jed get a bit too into it and be like lole. Oh yeah.
Lole.
But yeah, so interesting development with Jay. Like I said, Jay's a good man. Jay's always wanted to be a dad. He'll probably support this kid because he's always generally wanted to be a father. So it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up. I like it. Like I said, like Jay is one of the Jay's one of the sleeper characters where he's really interesting when they give him something to do. It just happens that he only gets something to do once every like fucking 3 years. So, like I said, Just like when Martin gets a storyline, just like when Bobby B gets a storyline, we take it. I suppose just a gap in the middle. Obviously, it's been revealed that Bobby Beale is leaving the show. The actor's quit. I thought about doing a video about it and then went, just be like 3 minutes. It's not even worth it. I like the Bobby Beale character, but once again, he's a character who's been given fuck all to do. He had his relationship with Dana. He had his He had his story where he revealed that he converted to Islam and is a practicing Muslim.
Do you know when you revealed the news to me, right? Do you know when we were watching 2014 EastEnders?
Yeah.
I used to go, Bobby looks so different here. And then it took me a minute to realise, wait, that's fucking Peter. That's Peter. Not Bobby. Bollocks.
Yeah, no.
I was like, Bobby he looks so different. But why is he so grown up in 2014? My mind is slowly slipping from me.
Yeah. But it's sad that he's leaving, but ultimately it's not a surprise, essentially, is my take on the Bobby stuff. He didn't have much to do.
And now actually, they all come out of the woodworks, actually. They all come out of the woodworks. You won't believe it, like worms or ants, they all come out of the woodwork. Fucking, oh no, it's Freddy and Dana's time, let's go.
Yeah, but it might genuinely happen now. That's the problem, though. It might genuinely happen, so I can't be all snarky about it.
I don't want it to happen. My poor Bobby B is gonna be left so
I suppose it doesn't help how Freddy's been gone for 6 months, and he was his main scene part. So, ultimately, there's not much you can fucking do. Is the problem. But yeah, the Jay stuff pretty interesting. Sad Bobby's leaving, but he'll come back in a couple of years and he'll be given actual big boy storylines, hopefully. Let's get into the George stuff. So obviously George, look, he's not been proven that he can cope with the sad death of his mum. So he has to, go into the proceedings look after the family, take care of the funeral. But the main issue is first he leaves a message for George Jr. and then he's surprised when Eddie wants to meet him. And it does turn sour though when George tells him Gloria was really fucking happy that she wasn't gonna have to spend an eternity with you. And then Eddie just becomes really horrid and it's you know what? I blame you for the death. I'll blame you for the fucking death, and also you're not going to the funeral. And it's fucking hell, alright. So, cheers, Eddie, you little rat.
I mean, Eddie, you're not going either, mate. You're fucking in that jail cell. You can't go.
People are they're allowed to go to funerals, just supervised.
Do you imagine he fucking at the funeral, Eddie's when they're lowering the coffin into the ground. He's like, oh yes, can you go a bit closer, police officer? Go a bit closer. Gosh, just fucking decks him into it, then does a runner. Well, he can't do a runner. He's fucking 84. He can't do a runner, but he tries. He tries. I guess
it's also just Eddie looking like complete shit, which was very lovely to see.
You know what he looks like?
He looks like a ghoul from Fallout.
He looks like a them two old Muppets in the Muppet Show that sit on the balcony and laugh. He looks like one of them fuckers. I looked at him and I'm like, where is the gnome? I want the gnome. I don't want Eddie. I want the gnome. I want to see how he's doing in prison. I want to know the chronicles of him in prison. I'd love to see him. I was so devastated when they're like, oh, we're going to show scenes of Eddie in prison. I'm like, wait, where's his pad? Where's his little cooperative pad? But I did love these scenes. Eddie Knight, Jesus, what a man. What a man.
What a bastard.
What a douche.
He is just a massive dick.
I love this. You brainwashed your mother. So you know what, dickhead? You're not getting her cremated. I'm burying her with me. How about those apples, you dick? Wait, get me in prison? I used to last them.
Yeah, that's just he's just a little man. He's a little man. George storms out the pub and he gets back when Elaine asks him, and Phil follows, and he continues to get himself involved in the underground bare knuckle boxing. George gets battered. Phil tries to talk him out of it, and then George gets fucking sparked out because his head's not in it. And he's all battered and bruised, and he's to be fair, the guy who's facing looked fucking terrifying, man. Oh, holy shit! Shit, I wouldn't fuck with that guy. Oh, box him? Nah, all right, I'm good, thanks.
I mentioned it to Ash, but it's just one of my favorite. Like, 'cause this reminds me so much of Fight Club. So this is one of my favorite endings. Like, fucking, if the Pixies where does my mind start playing at this, I just get sparks out. I know I bring all that song sometimes, but if that fucking song playing,
I will say,
it's just bosh as you.
probably not the show's finest hour with the fight scenes. I'll be real with you. The fight, just lads, just don't show it. All right, just don't if you're not gonna like. It looked like garbage, and you could tell that fucking Colin Salmon seems he never boxed a day in his fucking life. And he's supposed to be a prolific heavyweight boxer, and he's just shit. Just have it be implied, lads. Just have it be implied, please. You don't need to show this.
I just loved it. I hope we get a scene of every time with George just in the underground boxing den, just rising up, back on the street, took my time, did my chances, just fucking eye of the tiger, Phil singing into like a mic, and then he just gets sparked out. It'd be great, crack. But yeah, I loved. Actually, started enough straight away on one of them. I love fucking George's punches. You know exactly who they reminded me of. The good old special in wrestling, Shane fucking McMahon. Fucking them fucking punches. Like, I understand he's supposed to be a pro boxer, but could they literally not go Colin King? It just for like a week or two, just go like.
It's also like they didn't do any of the camera cuts. You're supposed to fucking cut to his face going, "Blah," but instead he's just taking it. Like, you're supposed to just go, "Blah," and then you fucking react. But they showed it fully, so you just saw him go. Like, I don't care that much. I'm not one of these people who are like, "Nah, bloody ruining my immersion." Like, oh fuck me, hello. Oh, stop telling me to upgrade to Windows. Leave me alone.
I do fucking love that. Like, I wish they fake hit each other. Like, I wish that the punches to actually did connect. I don't understand. Don't actually be like, lads, just start beating the shit out of each other. I don't want actors doing that. I don't. But I would have fucking laughed if he just started walloping him, or he just started doing a 1920s, 30s cartoon. You know, the fucking. I'll fucking show you.
I'm not on for that ride. Actors should not be getting fucking battered. You know, one dodgy punch can fucking cripple you for life. Like, fucking.
I don't want them to get battered. I just want them to go like that. Just.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I hope we're not. I hope we're not back there soon. Essentially, I hope the set tends to leave. I've had enough of it. I don't want it. But carrying on though, where, you know, Phil covers for George, and he's like, "Oh, you know, all right, we had a scrap with some kids. You know, they're getting mouthy, blah blah blah." And George freaks out when Gloria's brother shows up and says, "Hey, look, we cleared the flat, and the keys are back to the council. So you're not allowed to do this either." It's like, fucking hell. And Cindy and Phil make sure that George doesn't get into another fight, and he breaks down at the boxing den with Cindy. And, you know, they get to kind of talk about each other's history, and, you know, with the anniversary of it being Lucy's death, and his mum passing, and then they finally kiss to end episode 2. Feels like this has been a year in the making, honestly. They've been teasing this back and forth over again. I've seen a lot of, like, I've seen a bit stuff from Reddit where people really, I think people it sounds more reasonable when I say it like this, but I think people, they want the Cindy character to develop. They don't want her to constantly keep fucking cheating on Ian and not, like, taking Ian for granted. But I don't know, I'm kind of on the side where a leopard doesn't really change its spots. Like, I feel like Cindy's just naturally like this, and she's always looking at other things that she'd want. And, like, you know, seeing people like, to stop fucking cheating on Ian, it's been 20 years, and it's like, yeah, but it's just who Cindy is, man. Cindy just loves George. That's a true soulmate in her eyes. Ian's alright, but he ain't fucking George, is he? But yeah, what do you think about the constant Cindy, Elaine, George, Ian, like, square?
Great question there, Pat. I answered it like a fucking Tory, didn't I? It's great question. I'm gonna respond by asking you a question. So, am I gonna give the NHS free healthcare? Right, I'm gonna ask you this question: will you give the NHS free healthcare? See, great politician. I'm a great politician. You know, I'm every politician ever.
Hurry up.
So what do I think of it? I enjoy this. Oh, I'm sad. I'm really sad. The one song was not playing in the background, and it should have been playing in the background. What's that song, Ash? Come on.
Go on then. I know you want to do it.
A Kiss from a Rose.
Exactly. Moving on.
Why was it?
I don't fucking. I felt even the audience are like, fucking it. This is where it's going. This is where he's doing this joke again.
I've been playing. I'm just saying.
Day after, it's Lucy's anniversary, and the family are with Anna, Gina, and Lauren, and they're all telling stories about Lucy. And Cindy kind of starts to realise didn't really know Lucy that much. Like, she missed out the main part of her life that everybody else knows. And between all the stories of her not knowing her kid and, like, the memories being fuzzy, she can't handle the guilt of both kissing George and the grief of Lucy, and she leaves and finds George wanting to continue yesterday. You know, like, maybe it's just the right thing to do. And George is like, no, it's fucking not. Definitely fucking not. No fucking way are we doing this again. And he's like, no, Elaine's my future, never happening again. And she kind of is like, yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were honest with each other. Yeah, fucking that, like, the smiley face, like poster in front of, like, a crying. Just, this is fine. That meme. And says Elaine is her future. And when Cindy gets back, Ian has arranged he got Cindy Jr. to send her a message saying, like, hope you're doing all right, you know. Hope you're feeling okay on this day. And it's like, and she feels, I mean, Ian's always second best in comparison to George, but I feel like she's back, you know. She had a little, like, cold feet. She's now like, fuck it, fine, all right. Ian's not all that bad. I like how the anniversary of Lucy's death, people, like, we had some comments like, I think it's just, maybe it'll turn out that Bobby didn't actually kill Lucy, or, like, people thought that this was going to be much bigger than it actually was, when obviously this episode's about the Yolande stuff. So, like, if they're not making a big deal out of the anniversary, they're probably not making a big deal about this. But yeah, like,
I mean, who? Sorry to interrupt you, but who could realistically be the actual killer? What? Cindy's gonna go, yeah, I actually killed.
It was me.
It was me. It was me, Bobby. It was me all along. Son of a bitch. Just that's what he says. But, like, what the fuck could they reveal? Like, who could actually be? There's no.
I doubt it was. It was just someone. It was just someone repeating, like, rumors they heard. Like, fair enough. We
Yeah,
all hear
yeah,
rumours.
I know. But my question with the question is, who could it be?
See the fucking
Like,
answer.
who
No one.
fits that glove?
One of the people who went straight back to Hollyoaks. Easy. No. I
Hooray!
thought that Cindy was gonna like pipe up, like yell at Bobby at some point during this, but didn't happen. So fair enough. But yeah, the Cindy stuff, it happens. We're back in this fucking cycle again. I've seen people be like, I don't understand why you brought her back, but I don't know. I just think that it helped the Knight family get established more. It helped the Beale Knight family become that like Fowler Beale unit at the start of the show. Personally, I think they've done it's done a good job at bedding so many different characters and re-establishing the family. I think it's done. I kind of expected Ian to do more. I can't lie. I was expecting him to have an actual big storyline, but he's kind of just been chilling for most of it, honestly. Like maybe he didn't want to do it all suddenly. Maybe he wanted to be bedded in a little bit more. But I mean, I'm enjoying it so far, so
I mean,
I'm not going
Ian
to
has a
complain.
great one-liner in one of the scenes. But we'll get to that when we discuss the fucking the meat thermometer in the room.
But yeah, finally, let's talk about the Dean stuff, and it's a much shorter one, as there wasn't much to go on, but a decent bit of development. As yeah, when Dean gets questioned, the police don't believe him. And then Jade has been staying with the Slaters as Jean returns, and they explain that yes, it was Dean tampering with your meds, and continuing that. When the police have to go and seek out the allegation, they're saying like Dean's saying that Jean and Harvey and Stacy are lying. So, like, all right, do you have any proof that he was tampering with the meds? And then Jade goes, yeah, he was. It's true. He was doing it. So, with that, it like the statement now is like he says it's true. So Dean gets arrested for neglecting his daughter's medication. After learning he stole the charity fund, and with blood on the meat thermometer with his DNA on it, he's being charged with the murder of Keanu Taylor. Oh, thank fucking God. Thank God. That's some divine intervention. Dean's finally getting his comeuppance. What would you take about this, mate?
Yeah, I pretty much enjoyed it. Just don't mind the product placement that no one can see but me. I pretty much enjoyed it. It was pretty good. The one liner that I loved was Ian going, I didn't know we had a Ted Bundy on our hand. I don't know why I said Bundy. So weird. But I didn't know we had a Ted Bundy on our hands. Which I was like, yeah. So I posed the question to you folks. Who is your favourite serial killer? Comment down below. Tell us who you think. Who would win? Who would win between all the serial killers? If the glove don't fit, then don't put the glove on.
I mean, in
I
a pretty
guess.
weird I have a pretty interesting because I used to like a bunch of like top 10 videos and countdown. I enjoyed a lot of them back in the day, and I enjoy a lot of true crime. I don't watch it so much now, but I've definitely spent a lot of time like watching a bunch of true crime stuff. Or just the real crime stuff. So and I found a show. I think it's called oh, fuck, what's it called? It's this. I think it's called Most Evil, and it devised like a rating system in a sense where there's like layers of like evil, and I don't know. It appealed to that like countdowny type side of my brain where it's like, oh, who is the most evil, and then obviously like the most were like people who would like fucking. It was like Georgetown, for example, where the guy made a cult and then fucking gave everybody cyanide and murked everyone. But yeah, hey, true crime's great. Anybody else like Most Evil? Tell me in the comment section down below.
I don't know the name of this show, right? But I found it because of Slater. The Slater sent me this video. Ash probably knows the video. And I was fucking. It was this, like, who win between all these, not evil organizations, these terrorist groups. And, like, the one that gets played the
Where's this
most
fucking
is
going? Where's this
the one that gets
going?
played the most. The one that gets played the most is the fucking Taliban versus the IRA. Uh, fucking, it's so fun. It's so fucking stupid because they're in a car park in the middle of nowhere, buying in a car park, and somehow the IRA win. They win. The IRA are not that great of a group. They're not. It's so fucking stupid. But like, oh, them videos are great. But now I can't find the clip. I want to find the clip of the IRA fighting the Taliban. Oh Jesus! But yeah, I like loved. There's also a great one by Rufus Rice. He's a comedian, and every Wednesday he does a parody song. So he does like songs from the perspectives of people. And one that I always play to myself because I find it funny for some reason, because the way he says Aglio Olio is fucking love story, but it's from the perspective of Jeffrey Dahmer or Dahmer, whatever you want to call him. And I just like the song. The song fucking slaps. I don't care. The song fucking slaps.
But I thought you were gonna say something even worse than like fucking. Yeah, it's just put together two terrorist organizations. It's just funny, isn't it? But no, well, yeah.
Not funny, but it's just the way. How does the fucking IRA win?
Not for me to decide. Not for me to decide.
It's for you people in the comment section to decide down below.
But yeah, I suppose as a whole, it was a very good week. It was a very interesting week. I hope that people have enjoyed the slightly shifted tone of the podcast. I think it was important to cover the Yolande stuff as serious as possible, as, you know, if we're covering soaps, we can't shy away from the serious topics as a whole part of the fucking job. So I hope people enjoyed the tone of that a little bit more serious take on it. But I at least hope that people enjoyed kind of returning back to earth in a way, just kind of like, all right, let's have a bit more fun with this. You don't need it to all be doom and gloom. The good thing with media is you can put it down and you can put it behind you. You don't need to fucking spend all the time like dwelling on it. So, yeah. I suppose we would say that we would do like a slightly more like how's it going bit, but I don't know. I feel like we've done enough of a good job at kind of being a bit more lighthearted lately. So do we need to do that?
No, but I guess we've been more lighthearted. Except for me, we just brought up two fucking terrorist organizations, and someone singing the love song, Taylor Swift love story from Jeffrey Dahmer's perspective. You know, Ash is like lighthearted. Go lighthearted, Piggy. Yeah, me. Fucking. Oh, hey. Fucking. I'm jumping into the deep end, but I can't swim, so I'm drowning. That's my take. I try to be lighthearted, but I like being the comedy in a room full of black and white. I like being the yellow light. That's all I can really say. I know some people might not like that. I'm sorry, I really am. But I'm just like, I can't sit here and be like, yeah, poor Yolande, I have to try and think of the positives. That sounds so wrong in that perspective, but I have to try and look at what I can talk about.
I mean, I'd say it's better that you just choose to not really talk about it rather than kind of just being like, oh, let's talk about it, and then you have no fucking clue what you're saying. Like, it's a thing in media where don't tackle the serious topics if you can't fucking do it. And ultimately, if you're not going to be able to cover it well, don't fucking butcher it by thinking you know what's happened. So
it's like how Ash always tells me that it's like when you go to a comedian or an actor or an actress and go, oh, what's your take on climate change? Obviously, they're just getting paid like $1 million to do a fucking movie, so they don't care. So, well, actually, the thing with climate change is, actually, I star in a movie where I play a guy called Ralph,
It's
and
like
it's a pretty good acting
it's the whole
comedy.
thing of you don't go to a heart surgeon to ask him how to fucking save your marriage. Like, there'd be no fucking point. What good thing is he gonna tell you? That's how I generally see it. You know, I've been through enough soap stuff. I've covered a lot of it anyways to like to think that I've got enough of a grasp. I feel like I've learned enough to feel comfortable talking about these more serious topics. So that's why I tend to do so. I feel like I generally know the line. And yeah, so I hope people enjoyed the podcast nonetheless. A slightly more different in tone one, but I mean, we'll still have there's some more fan fiction to do. That'll be out. Will have been out Thursday. There's another fan fiction that's been written that we'll do at some point. But yeah. So I hope everybody's enjoying what we're doing currently, and I hope this podcast was a bit of a breath of fresh air for an otherwise very depressing week. So yeah, thank you for watching Walford. Make sure to join us in the next one. And as always, join the Discord if you would like to go ahead and support us and join in on the conversation or make any other fan fictions or whatever. Join the Discord so you can actually send it to us and we can see it. So yeah, join us in the next episode of Watching Walford. Thank you for watching. Join us in the next one. See you then. Bye-bye.